Oh hey internet, welcome back to the Type QQ gaming channel, welcome back to Khimera, and welcome back to what I believe is going to be the final episode of the Chimera series. Sadly, we can't escape it any longer. We can't avoid it. We have to get the last piece of the puzzle by playing Cake Boy. Sadly, and doing a little research, it stings even more to know how close we were last time. We have to reach level 15. We died at level 14, I think, not too long ago, in the last video. So this all seems to be a bit, a bit too much, especially we came so close. But I think we can power through it. See if we can find something to ramble about while this boring crap is going on. Yes, this being the final video, we'll be transitioned into some DFO stuff, some DFO content. Hopefully that comes out pretty well. And I think for the videos, I think moving forward, I think we got Kaiken still, a new sort of Japanese fan-made shoot 'em up that's really fun. Of course, we still have Toho 16, and of course we have the sort of random demo that's popping up, seemingly like a new one every day. So I think that's kind of what the plan is, the agenda is moving forward. On top of that, I think I've said in a previous video, as we're about to do the cheating cake jump. Oh, messed it up a little bit, I think. There we are. I've been working on next year's looking layout and style and stuff of the YouTube channel. Like I described previously, is that like I kind of like the idea of like every new year kind of spicing everything up. I had a sort of style for, when I first kind of got serious about recording videos and posting them, with a sort of, jagged TV static type of feel where, well, that was quick that he stole that. I think that's the end of that life. To kind of emphasize how bad the content was equivalent to like, a staticky dead TV. And kind of brought that sort of snowy black and white color to as much as I could. There was really no aim to reason why. I also used a star in my thumbnails, and also and there was no particular reason why I used the Mummy, other than I liked the Mummy. And why he kept his sort of Buddhist clothing as well. So there was a lot of stuff that I kind of just like, that was there that I sort of just kind of, fixed slightly, without too much thought or reason when it comes to like an overall look. But I don't think it's particularly, we gotta make that jump, but we are effed. Oh, we made that jump. In fact, you don't necessarily have to make that jump. You might be able to just kind of shimmy off the side of that blockade, but. Level 12, 1 life left, 0 life left. That's discouraging. We're gonna have to try this once more. Yeah, so there was a lot of stuff that I felt kind of just, wasn't really tied together very well. So with the new year, just like 3 months away, I thought maybe now would be a good time to, instead of sort of, working around what I already have, think about, from top to bottom, what I'd like 2018's look to be. And I think I've settled on to it. It's going to be a lot of the same, but something different. Just sort of an evolution. So if I'm doing this thing for the next 5 years, you can see from 2017 to 2022. This sort of progress from the first year to the fifth year when it comes to like a style or an aesthetic, that sort of thing. So it doesn't seem like it's a big jump, maybe it's just a crawl of things, Um, not to ruin the surprise or anything, but the sort of overall aesthetic that I'm working on this for the next year is a little bit of an evolution, a little bit of a change from the black and white static to the, rainbow static or dead air on a TV, and really taking it from, yeah, we had it there on that blockade there on the corner, and really removing it from the black and white static to the dead air, and overall just an emphasis, yeah, a lot more emphasis on color than black and white. And then, of course, just spicing up the look of my character. I'm hoping to get him into street clothes instead of, his Buddhist monk clothes. Excuse me. Just kind of make it round out the character, to make him seem like he's more sensible than what's up with this Buddhist monk, this mummified Buddhist monk, like hanging out and doing stuff. This run seems to be going the way of the dodo as well. And then and one more thing when it came to, and there it is, to the new look of next year, is I'm not particularly sold, but I'm kind of into the idea of not handcuffing me particularly to one particular genre. I think I had a lot of desire this year to emphasize that I was a kind of a shmup, shoot 'em up, bullet hell channel, and that's certainly the focus, the main drive, I think. But I think that would be self-evident no matter what I do. I don't think I necessarily have to say, hey, I'm type QQ, and I play shmups, and period. Especially when we play games like Khimera or Undertale, or like games that are like coming out later on this year, like the Dot Hack remakes. A lot of stuff that I liked playing when I was younger. That's not necessarily a shmup and stuff like that. So I think there'll still be a large amount of content moving forward when it comes to shmups, but I don't want to necessarily put that on the face, on the cover, on the banner, and say, hey, this is what I do, and then don't necessarily do it. So I'm thinking of going through slogans, going through sayings, and going through sort of some description of what the channel is and does, outside of outside of handcuffing myself to one genre. I think I do have some subscribers that that check my stuff out just for the shmup stuff, and that's perfectly fine. That's not going to change. It's just, I think, I think for me, it will. I'm not sure quite how to say this. For me, it won't seem like like I'm playing the wrong stuff, that sort of thing. When it comes to the spirit of the channel, I would say. But hey, throughout this rambling, we are now at level 10 with all our lives left. So 5 more levels, and we will get this trash over with. 4 levels at that. But sadly, it's I really hate for this part to be the Cake Boy and like 10 minutes of Cake Boy being part of the final episode of this. But it was certainly a piece of the puzzle that we were really regretting and doing what we can to not having to play. Level 14 with all our men. Level 15 with all our men's. Oh, there it is right there. Turbo Librarian. Alright, good. We got that goddamn piece of shit. Now let's just get the fuck out of the game. And just blow ourselves up. Alright, good. It is done. The deed is done. Yes, so it'll be interesting in years to come where, we started off with the sort of black and white static to the rainbow static, or rather like rainbow dead air screen, to maybe something, maybe a step beyond that in the future. It'd be interesting. But that's the mentality. I think I'm gonna go with it for as long as I do this thing. All right. The Khimera Harvest event. Welcome to this special holiday epilogue chapter. We're joining the cast 6 months after the events of the story for a light-hearted romp in Halloween Land. And yeah, how this works is essentially it's one big level gated off with a certain amount of candy pickups. So we're in this first area and we're expected to pick up so many candies to get to the next area and so on and so on, but it's one big level. Capped with a boss, and it's as you can tell, we're removed back down to 4 health, and we do not get the berserker mode out of it as well. So it's kind of a kind of back to the basics type of thing. So the main objective, of course, is not just surviving, but also scouring the world and picking up these candies as you see here, and especially these gates where it says like you have to have 2 candies here and then it opens up. And of course we got a checkpoint, and of course at the top of the screen it says how many dandy candies we have, and of course there's still unlockables to have. So yeah, we're not going to go through all this already. This is just the epilogue, really. This is just a fun little level. I'm going to be as persistent and as diligent as I can through this first run, but I don't think we're going to go through it too many times, if any, past this one time. The game has done that sort of thing. I'm not 100% interested in 100% clearing it. I think we can go on forever with that, and I don't think it really serves as that much entertainment stuff. If you want to see this 100% beaten up, I would say, hey, download it yourself, do it yourself. I think that's going to be a lot more entertaining than watching me go through the same levels over and over and over, and just looking to do like a speedier run, or like a no death run, that sort of thing. I don't think that's particularly interesting. For you guys or for me, to be honest. The game's been beat, and we have this fun little sort of Halloween chapter. We need to get up to 16 dandy candies. It's like 9 more. And then we'll be able to go through that door there. And it's hard to say that if there's any sort of like pits of death in this area, because it seems like they're all just like everything is. It's just one giant stage that leads in multi different directions. In a multitude of different directions, I suppose is the best way to say that. And it's funny that little jump there. The correct way to do that is to jump through the spikes. Don't mess with those trampoline springs there, or they'll just bounce you back up in the spikes. It's sort of a reverse thought practice there. You can kind of tell a lot of these enemies are a bit more harder to kill, and they're a lot more meaner than the other enemies. But that's to be expected with a sort of extra stage that's been added on after you beat the game. We are at 10 candies. I would say 11, but we just got killed right before that one. But everything is saved as we continue on. Man, another piece of news that I really haven't really touched upon was the death of Len Wein, kind of the creator and father of Swamp Thing. I don't know if I've gone through it a whole lot in this channel, but I do read a fair amount of comic books. Have amassed quite the library of trade paperbacks throughout the years, and certainly one of my favorites, or some of my favorites, are these sort of like the anti-superhero stuff, like the monsters and the people with odd powers. I like the Captain Americas and the Batmans and stuff. I certainly have a lot of them, but what the supernatural stuff, the horror stuff, and just the oddball stuff is what I really enjoy. So Constantine, Swamp Thing, all that stuff. That's my favorite stuff right there. And it was very sad to hear last year Bernie Wrightson passing away, who was a classic artist who did Swamp Thing and like a lot of the horror stuff. And then just a couple days ago, Len Wein, who's arguably the creator and author of the Swamp Thing comic book, the first like 20 to 30 issues, as well as the final. And the sad thing is that never got to really read his latest work up until, well, I still haven't, but up until recently I just ordered it, where I was just kind of like, that this is the last straw. I've waited long enough. I needed to check out his work, and it's sad to it's sad that it took his death for me to kind of do that, but sometimes it's better late than never. I never got to meet him, but I do have friends who did, and I'll live through them vicariously. But yeah, when it comes to Swamp Thing, I love Swamp Thing. I love the idea of a monster who's no longer human, embedded with human emotions and human thoughts. Battle with humanity. It's a complex and awesome thing, and I am absolutely terrified when it comes to the last remaining Swamp Thing. I would say like grandfather, of Alan Moore. He's still alive and kicking, but I'm absolutely terrified of when he passes. That's just going to be the. I know there's still a lot of great minds out there when it comes to comic books, and those for Swamp Thing and Constantine, but yeah, that would be the first lineage of the Swamp Thing. All of them gone. And Alan Moore, I think, outside of Swamp Thing, is just an amazing an amazing curmudgeon. Just like I can get cranky and idealistic for maybe the wrong reasons. He is too, and I absolutely love it. I sometimes you can kind of be criticized for being too opinionated and just and whatever. But I sometimes despite the fact that we may not agree on some things, I absolutely love it. I'm down for anyone who's ready to kind of fight for their cause no matter what. And if you get a chance, check out some of his the YouTube videos he has out. He has a great deal out there describing like his fascination with the occult and magic and stuff like that. Do yourself a solid. Get your haze on, get your get your buzz on, and check out some of that stuff. Of course, as long as you're over the age of as long as you're a responsible adult. If you're a youngin' watching this, give yourself a couple years, give yourself whatever it is to be, I would say 19, 20, 21. I would say preferably 21, to be completely honest, just so you can have a good number of years of adulthood under your belt before you really can be trusted with adult things. Don't just go out there and be a wild idiot on your 18th birthday because Type QQ told you to. In moderation, we are just getting beat up here. And then we have that bomb zombie here. But yes, Alan Moore. He's a great dude. Great dude. Dang. Yeah, I have a ton of his stuff. Watchmen, From Hell, V for Vendetta, Swamp Thing, of course, Batman, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Jesus Christ, a lot of his other little, independent books, and still there's a lot more out there. I think he has a Cthulhu or Lovecraftian book out there called Neonomicon. I think that's the title of it. I don't recall, but yeah, he has a lot of tinier, lesser known books out there that I certainly need to get on. And of course, there's Jeffrey or Jeremy or Gregory, whatever his name is, that creepy spider boss. And yet, I have yet to know whether that's a creepy smile or his mustache. And oddly, I couldn't really find any sort of anything with him. It's bizarre. I guess he's just here to say hi. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of deaths in this video, unfortunately. Just when it comes to the nature of this game, of this stage, where they removed a lot of our lives, brought us down to 4, and jacked up the difficulty. I think it's bound to happen. 2 more candies there if we can get through this puzzle. I think that's kind of it there now that we've unbalanced the, there we are, unbalanced those platforms. Took 3 hearts though, so it's kind of like, well, we got those 2 candies, yeah, we might as well die and start over. Yeah, put on our Lucky Maid costume, I guess. It's weird. It took us this long to change, change out of our witch costume, but here we are. 22 candies. Really looking for, what was it, 30? Something like that? And that'll make it 24. 32, yes. So, 8 more. Trying as we may to get up there and to get that piece, but I don't think it's meant for us right now. All right, there's 25. Naked pirates. I don't know, this sounds like a, should I do like the big party going on? I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'll just take a bath. But it's a handy thing to actually find this as well. I believe this is going to not only heal us, but I think it's going to give us an additional heart. So, as the girls are just kind of like chatting it up. Actually, it's by 2 hearts, so we up at 6. Do my eyes deceive me? But despite the number of hearts, we bite it almost immediately. Yeah, I believe that is 6. So certainly handy, you know. You know, as silly and pointless as it is to find the hot spring and do that in the middle of a sort of harvest fest, you know, it was probably one of the better decisions in this whole area to take advantage of that for our lives. And those goddamn trolling heads. There we are, up to 27. Oh geez, oh geez. You can kind of see the panic of my platforming when I fall and start dashing every which way direction, trying to... A bit more coherent there where I just need to kind of dash off to the side, but apparently this is getting pretty difficult here. I think at the apex of that jump we use the wings. There we go. Jesus Christ. Why is this so hard? Luckily a little health. That's going to be a 28th candy if we can get our grubby hands on it. We did, however, I mean, at the sake of a lot of health, but... How about that, huh? Hold my beer, Khimera says. So, yeah, maybe another news story just to kind of pass the time of the monotony of trying trying to recover our or retrace our steps here. Is that have you guys gone through the news of the was it Venture Beats coverage of Cuphead? Cuphead's a sort of side-scrolling shooter, kind of like I would say Metal Slug, or I would probably closely say like Alien Hominid. I think those type of games where it's like a a Mario game or a Sonic game, but your character can kind of shoot a bullet out of his fingers, that sort of thing. And it was covered by VentureBeat, and I think the name of the one guy that did the piece himself, his name is Dean Takahashi, I believe. I don't look it up yourself. That may be wrong. Well, anyway, the discussion about it all is that like he was pretty trash, and I don't even mean that by an exaggeration of calling my stuff trash, or being a jerk and calling GameBound stuff trash, but like this guy, at least when it came to his coverage of Cuphead and maybe some of the other games that have like he's rumored to play before, he is like on the levels of like my 2-month-old son, putting a controller in his hands. There's videos of him with playing Cuphead with in the tutorial with essentially in the background it written how to jump dash, and he cannot grasp it, and he's just like he's essentially walking into walls, crouching, doing a lot of just boneheaded stuff. And then kind of saying like, oh shit, this shit's hard, this shit's impossible, and they've gone on record of kind of defending themselves about like, like, listen, you may not need to be a pro to cover the game, and I would say that's accurate, I mean, but to a certain extent, I mean, if you're a food critic, you kind of need to know how to chew food and not choke, or know how to use a fork without stabbing your own eye out, that sort of stuff. I understand, some games really do require a lot of skill, but you can kind of get the gist of them without having to beat the whole game 100%. I understand that. We are at 31. I think that 32 is the candy that we need to get to for the next level. And I would say, we've seen it before with shmup games that, yes, of course, on the level, on the cover of all shmups, if you're a something that's trying not to be shot while you're shooting a lot of things, and progressing through a level. However, a lot of shmups will have a sort of secondary way of playing it to sort of exploit and work with its scoring system, so you can provide yourself a longer running experience through like one-ups and stuff. And I would say before if you're a big time journalist or even just a schmuck like myself, you probably should understand the game on at least that secondary level of like how should you score this game or score with this game before you can really make your judgments on it. And I think that's kind of the idea with Cuphead as well, or other games. Like I suppose you can have your say on maybe the graphics and controls, but then like wrap it up because you really haven't played a whole lot past that, or know how to play a lot past that. And I think having a lot of gaming experience is probably a good thing to have, so you can compare it to other things. But yeah, they thought the coverage of the stuff was funny, and his stuff is always kind of, I guess, a little amateurish, and not amateurish, but like badly played. And what I thought was a little bizarre is that, you know, their line of defense was just like, listen, I'm not good at platformers, you know, I'm not good at side scrollers, you know. And you know, for a moment I'm like, you know, I hate to say it, you know, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, is that not the core genre of video gaming at all? You know, like look, like thinking back to Nintendo, thinking back to Atari, you know, like you had Mario, you know, climbing up the girders and Donkey Kong. You know, you had Pong, which it's certainly not a platformer, but still hand-eye coordination with an avatar moving in a two-dimensional plane doing something. Like, really? You're not good at side scrollers, quote-unquote side scrollers, you're not good at platformers? It's like, really? You've never, you know, Mario, Sonic, you know, you know, Mega Man, nothing? You know, Castlevania, nothing? None of these games, you know. You know, in any game really, you know, aside from I would say like turn-based stuff, you know, strategy, you know, or maybe like Wii shovelware, you know, it has always been about, you know, hand-eye coordination with a sort of 3D sprite in a 2D, 2.5 3D plane, you know, and I'm just like, you know, that's like, I don't know, it's like, I've never been good at platformers, so it's like, come on, I mean, that you know, essentially is like, you know, the bottom layer of the food pyramid of gaming. Like, what do? You just, like, be virtual reality? You just get on the scene, like, you know, 6 months ago and you just do VR exclusively? Bizarre claim. And, you know, I'm not, you know, and, you know, I think I've said my piece on it, but I just think it's a little bizarre. A little bizarre to say that was his thing that he came back and said, well, I'm just not good at platformers. I don't do the side scrolling thing. He's like, really? That's I would say that's about as close as I don't do the video games thing as you really can. You know, listen, I know I'm a video game critic, but I don't really do listen, I'm not good at games. I really don't do the video game thing. But I have blabbed on through pretty much this entire boss here. And it's pretty cool that we actually had a challenging boss for once. And he had like the three heads, but there he goes, all the same. In a way, I'm glad we found something to talk about during all this. If I didn't just, if I ruined the final boss. Oh no! I love that. I have no idea who you are. Sort of like Scooby-Doo reference there, maybe. You know, you pull off the mask and it's not the janitor, but no one in the cartoon. But hey, a good way to introduce another character, I suppose. Grand total of 36 candies. That's a lot. Night of the Monster Girl achievement. Let's just throw that right in the dumpster of achievements. But yeah, that's going to be it the series, guys. That was a lot of fun. You know, I think it was a good time. But that's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, do all that stuff. And we'll come back and play some more games in the future.